There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
What's up, and welcome into the post-game rendition of the Program Guyz podcast. I'm Patrick Hertzberger. Joined with me today is Ryan Tyson and Mark Hall. The Sooners defeat the Auburn Tigers 27-21 in a game which felt like more of a loss for the Sooners than a win. However, we got the W. Guys, what are your initial thoughts? Brian, we'll start with you.
I love when Pat, starts and hosts one of our podcasts. It's so like well scripted and he sounds like a radio host. It's just fantastic. I love you, Patrick. I have
But then he
of...
takes a take like that, like, oh, but we kind of lost the game.
Yeah.
And then it's just it's really good and then left turn.
We are recording this about what, like 45 minutes post game, probably.
Game just ended.
Game just ended, and I feel like I've been on a roller coaster with the last 10 minutes of this football game. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this for all but the last 10 minutes of this game. This was a disgusting football game by the University of Oklahoma. However, the last 10 minutes were just so beautiful, and there was so much like Sooner magic involved in it that it made up for it. And I'm sitting here and I think I'm shocked and I'm stunned and I'm a little surprised. I was talking to my brother about this after, and he was like, this is a season-changing win, right? And I completely agree with that, but I think this potentially could be a program-changing win too. And I think that is I might have recency bias. Let's be sure. I'm coming off a high right now. But like we were just down and out. We were talking about like, who do we need to fire? Are we worried about BV as a coach? And then everything seemed to flip. And when we won this game and then going into this bye week next week, which is coming at the most perfect time we could absolutely ask for, right before we have Texas, it just feels like kind of one of those storybook things that is just like weirdly fated. So I don't know. I could be not making a lot of sense right now, but I feel like I'm on this like high following this win.
Yeah, I don't think we're like quite as mythologically meant to just take over college football now. But I'm not saying
that. I'm not saying that.
Well, you got
the magic is flowing through me.
You got a little chosen one energy there, and I'm not as sure of that. But I'll say this. I think when we saw the pick six for the touchdown, I think that's what this team is going to have to be. And we've sort of skirted around pieces of this where, the offense has so many injuries, and now we're rolling with a true freshman quarterback. He's gotten a road SEC victory in his first game ever as a starter. He is going to be the guy when we roll into Dallas against Texas in 2 weeks. But it's going to take a lot from the defense. We needed the 6 points that the defense gave us today, and it's going to be interesting to see how the offense is able to build anything at this point and hope that the defense maintains. That's just, it's the only thing I can think about coming out of it is we're going to have to get points out of the defense and the special teams because the offense needs that. They're going to have it. They just don't have it.
Right. Yeah. Do you guys want to start with the offense or the defense?
Defense, maybe? Or
Sure.
Offense? I don't care. What do you guys want to do?
We always go offense first. Let's go offense first.
Offense.
We'll go offense first. Really bad play calling from Seth Littrell. A really bad offensive showing overall, in my opinion. There's a lot of struggles. There were a few plays that were working and a few concepts that were working, and we didn't consistently call those types of plays. And that was frustrating to see. I thought Michael Hawkins did everything he needed to do today. There are times where, Mark, I don't want to steal your thunder, but there are times where he throws the ball away because he makes the decision to keep the ball too long. And those plays are frustrating, but the alternative is your quarterback throwing an interception. and he's proven that he can take care of the ball. And winning the turnover battle is what we won us the game today. So as long as he continues throwing the ball out of bounds, even when he holds the ball too long or tries to scuffle or shuffle when he shouldn't, I'm okay with it, honestly, because he'll just continue to get better at that. So positives there. The run game, again, atrocious for me. I don't think it's necessarily Javonte Barnes' fault. He got a few holes. He did have a couple explosive plays and runs there, so you do see his talent. Even Sawchuk with one today. So overall, bad showing from the offense. They definitely need the spark from the defense, as you mentioned, Mark.
Yeah, I guess my thing is Gavin still has to figure out, or not Gavin, I'm sorry, Michael. I was trying to look up Gavin's stats. It looks like he didn't actually get a carry. He might have been in the game, but according to ESPN,
You know what?
he didn't get a
I think
carry
it was
at all.
called back.
So
It was called
they
back.
only ran. You know what? That makes sense because I remember seeing the same thing. But
Right.
point being, Michael Hawkins has to figure out what to do when they're bringing pressure because currently his options are run backwards a little bit and get sacked or try and make a play and then get sacked. Like that's really what's happening in any situation where he's facing pressure. And I don't want to say that because that's not necessarily true. He, rolling right, he had a great play that was a play. And he showed us something today, but it's also clear that he's a true freshman out there. And I think that the expectations on offense need to be tempered, at least until we see if we're going to get some of these receivers back.
Yeah, I think offense overall just a really, really, really bad performance up until kind of that one final drive that Hawkins threw that bomb, basically like a dart down to like the very like I think 2 yard line or something along those lines.
Great play by JJ Hester,
Yeah,
getting himself open and then making a play after the catch too.
I was like thoroughly impressed with Hawkins. I thought the ability, he opens up with on the first drive that he has I think on the fourth play, his 55-yard run that got the touchdown. He then throws the longest pass that we've longest completed pass we've thrown all year to at the end there to get that final touchdown and a final non-pick six touchdown, I believe. And it was, I think his decision making, I understand where both of you are coming from when you said like he's just throwing it away or he's holding on to it too long, and sometimes he gets a little like squirrely in the pocket, and I agree with those things. I do think a large fact of that is that we do not have our 5 wide receivers today, and they could not get open. These backup third string receivers could not get open to save their lives. He literally didn't have anyone to throw to. So I think he was like, okay, I either chunk it to somebody and risk getting picked off, or I try to make something happen with my legs. And oftentimes, that didn't go anywhere, but at the same time, I would rather have him do that than potentially turn the ball over. I think we talked a lot about Jackson Arnold's performance and how the decision making was the aspect that we were like, we couldn't get over. I love the decision making that I saw out of him today. And the fact that it's coming from a true freshman whose first start is at an SEC, a home of an SEC team, like an away game. I mean, like that's intense for anybody, let alone a true freshman. And I just thought he was poised and he had a few things here and there, but overall I thought he was great. I think the other part of the offense, you guys have already spoken to it. I do want to give a small shout out. I thought the offensive line played better today. I thought they were a little better today. And we just need to keep getting a little better, so I will take it. But everything you guys said, I agree with.
Well, and Patrick, I think that we saw sort of, you opened us with a little anti-Seth Littrell thing, and we saw early, I think some of the setup plays where it's like, all right, let's get Hawkins completing some passes. Let's do some of this. And then late, all of those plays ended up being like tight end screens or
Yeah.
quick passes to Bauer Sharp. And I just think you got to help your freshman quarterback a little bit more than that. Like, I know that we're missing guys out wide, but you need to set up some easy plays that we didn't necessarily see Seth Littrell set up. And then Michael Hawkins, to his credit, had to make things happen, and he did. He did with his legs, he did with his arm. The pass down the field to Brendan Thompson or JJ Hester was nuts. That's
But
perfect placement, and then JJ makes a play. That's insane.
the 2-point conversion, man. The 2-point conversion, he Sammy Bradford, he flipped over, and like that's when I think he got the entire fan base behind him.
Body
because
on the
it's
line.
like
Body
he
on
put
the line.
everything on the line
Yeah.
for it, and just incredible.
And it's the second time he's done
Patrick,
it.
what do you think about the play calling? Because you've said a Seth Littrell, you gave your Seth Littrell thought. What did you think of the play calling today?
I think there's too many times where we just don't allow us to continue the momentum and we don't stick to what's working. So like if you look at the statistics, JJ Hester averaged 29 yards a catch, 3 catches for him. Bauer Sharp averages 11 catches, 4 catches for him. Brennan Thompson, 15 average or yards per average, 2 catches for him. So throwing the ball, Michael Hawkins was able to throw the ball well when the opportunities arose. I just don't feel like we were setting them up in positions to make those plays happen and calling the right play calls to make those happen, right? I mean, Michael Hawkins ends the day with 10 or 15 passes, 10 of those completed. One of them Petaway drops. So you would say like 11 of the 15 are on target. That's really good. Throw the ball some more.
The receivers need to get open now. Like I know I might die on this horse a little bit, but like every time I was watching that secondary, and I'm like completely agree with you guys that like he needed to throw the ball more, but like he was in the pocket and there was literally no one that he could throw to without the risk of and it might be a comfortability thing. It might be that he doesn't throw to these receivers that often. It might be that like they're just not good enough to get separation, or they're, these are not our star wide receivers. I just like I think that Littrell was trying to get him to be able to throw the ball. I just think like the actual like lack of personnel is what caused some of those issues.
I hope so.
I mean,
we need to get healthy.
Four guys caught the football today. Four guys caught the football today. JJ Hester, Bauer Sharp, Brendan Thompson, Jaquez Petaway with 1. The drop by Jaquez Petaway along the sideline is some unacceptable stuff. That's someone that everyone all week was like, okay, he needs to be a part of the game plan. He needs to be a guy that you can look to, and he gives us nothing. He goes 1 catch for 2 yards. It's not going to be enough. And you have to look at that injury report at the receiver position and hope that you get at least like 2 guys back before, you have a bye week and then you go into Texas. But that receiver room today was just non-existent. I mean, literally 3 wide receivers caught balls and they only caught 6 between them. Mike Hawkins needs more to go to. The offense needs to be easier for him. This isn't sustainable the way that it goes right now.
And also, just last point on the offense is the game management aspect of it. We kept our defense on the field way too long, and those were things you
Especially
can kind
the
of
first.
manage after punting it 3 times in a row. Maybe not go for like maybe the 4th time you'd slow it down a bit, and you give your defense a little bit of a rest. Still it's a minor thing, but it's something that we've seen Brent continue not to maybe improve on in these kinds of parts of the game in the offense. Anything else on the offense before we move to the defense?
Not impose his will, right? Not impose his will, to your point, Pat.
Right.
Just say like, hey, we don't need to hurry. We don't always need to hurry. We can play the game as it comes to us.
Great.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I think you make a good point there.
Yeah.
Ryan, last thoughts? I have nothing.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think we've said everything for the offense. And we're disappointed, but I'm still high off that last 10 minutes. So
No Gavin Sawchuk is interesting, man.
I mean, I don't think we had the ball enough to let anyone. I mean, Javonte Barnes isn't even getting in the rhythm, so we didn't even have the amount of plays to maybe even try two running backs today. But I agree with you.
Javonte had 18 carries.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
It's a good number of carries.
You're right.
They were all right down the middle. No, I'm just kidding.
Every one of them.
Pretty much every. It felt
Yeah.
like every single one of them was right down the middle.
I think he had one to the side, and it was a first down. It was a first down
Yeah.
play. Defense. Let's go over the defense. I mean, it wasn't as good as it has been all season, but they definitely played the part today. I think we got what we expected out of them in the fourth quarter. It took
Yeah.
a little while, but we all said going into this game, we need a defensive touchdown. It happened. That's why we won the game. So overall, the defense holding Auburn to 21 points, that's going to win you games. It should win you games. It did win you this game. What are your thoughts on the defense?
Yeah, I mean, I can go first here. I think that at least the first half by the defense was not. I know Brent was not happy with that. He had like a halftime report that he was basically like, "I'm really not happy with like our defensive performance in this first half." And I don't think that I was listening to him like on the field right after they won, and he was like, "Oh yeah, fourth quarter we decided to show up. Like we decided to actually like be a team in the fourth quarter." He's like, "Finally," is basically what he said. So I think he knows that performance was not where he expected it to be, and I don't think it's where we really expected it to be. I thought our corners were pretty atrocious today. I thought they got beat by a lot of long balls. Anywhere from, Kenai Walker, Eli Bowen got beat one time. We
Des
had
Malone got beat.
Des Malone got beat for a touchdown. Just some really poor corner play. So I think if I were to point out one specific spot in the defense that I was like, I don't love this, that's the one I would. However, what I would say is they scored, I think the majority of their points, if not all their points, off like big chunk plays that we gave up, where we either something broke in the play, or we missed a read, or we missed something there. A safety wasn't in the right position. And, those are sometimes going to happen. Like those are going to happen. That's what happened against Tennessee last week. But we can hold that. This defense is able to bend a little bit, but they do not completely break. And we've seen a broken defense before in this OU team several years ago. So it's really nice to see that. And then Kip Lewis, man, that pick six was just, it won us this game, and it was incredible. And then our Mason Thomas coming at the end and just getting like 2 sacks in a row and just being a man about it. I mean, this team really showed up in the fourth quarter, and it took a while, but they finally got going.
We got Mariano Rivera, Mason Thomas at defensive end here. He's an absolute closer. I don't know what it is, but just towards the end of these games, he's closing the thing out for us after a full game of just holding the line, right? The defense doing enough the entire way through. Danny's Danny, right? He plays an incredible game. He does everything that you need from him. Robert Spears-Jennings coming off the edge on that end of the game sack. Incredible. Just amazing thoughtfulness, I guess, out of Brent and Zac Alley to send a guy on a play like that. I thought that we had some good play calling all game on the defensive side. Ultimately, you hold a team to 21. I think we said it last week. We hold Tennessee to 25. Your defense is doing the job. Your defense is doing everything you can, and they add 6 points, 7 points with the kickoff or with the PAT with the Kip Lewis pick six. You can't ask for much more out of the defense, man. And we saw Eli Bowen in there making plays, getting in on some tackles. PJ played some more today than he did last week. I didn't really see him do anything, but he was on the field at least. That's a positive. The defense is going to take this team where it goes.
Yeah,
I agree. You don't like seeing the defense giving up a total of 482 yards. However, like you mentioned, Ryan, yeah, sometimes we break, but as soon as the offense is in our red zone, it's extremely, extremely difficult to score on us when you're in our red zone. And that's what's key. That's where our strength lies, obviously, on the defensive side too. So that was awesome to see. And then
That fourth down stop on the goal line was sexy.
Yes.
Like that was like,
the first, second, third, fourth
yeah,
and goal.
yeah.
Like,
And
and that was like right at the start of the game.
And we're
And then
able to
things went a little
consistently do
downhill,
that.
but
yeah, we're able to consistently do that game in, game out against different teams. But last point, Gentry Williams is missed at the cornerback position. That it's easily
Yes.
seen.
Yeah.
Currently, that's probably one of the weaker links. I'd agree with you, Ryan, on that.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
and it's you can see that Kendall Dolby not being at the cheetah position, playing that nickel spot on passing downs.
Yep.
Suddenly we're taking Sammy Omasiko off the field, putting Woody Washington there, and then Des Malone and
Can I walk?
who else? Is,
Are you talking
Walker? corners?
Are you talking
Yeah.
corners?
Yes, I'm talking corners.
Yeah.
I'm talking corners.
Can I Walker?
You know, these guys.
Yes, can I Walker?
These guys, they're losing. You know, and Auburn has a good receiving core. I mean,
They do.
Lambert Smith and Cam Coleman are good players, but we need more juice at the cornerback position because too often you're seeing safeties have to make plays against these guys after they've made the catch.
Yeah. I did think that Thorne for their QB played really well. I think he played
Had a good game.
I
Really
think
good
he had
game.
I think he had a great game. I think he was dropping dimes where he needed to. I think overall he was reading our defense pretty well. I was impressed with this offensive performance by Auburn. I don't think I expected them to be like this. Just seeing the previous games of theirs. However, after that pick six, everything kind of fell apart for them. And I think they kind of turned back into what they were after, they had 5 turnovers in their last 2 games each. So like, I think that's what they kind of turned into after that pick six.
Yeah. Anything
It
else
seems
on the
like that's the
defense?
story of the season for Auburn.
Yeah.
Just
Turnovers.
that, like they're the
Right.
turnovers ruining fairly good offensive performances for them. Nothing else on the defense for me, Pat.
Yeah, I was just going to say, remember to like and subscribe to the Program Guyz podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of those great things. Anything on special teams? I thought Zach Schmidt did a great job.
Great. He did great.
I was nervous with.
I was
him
very
kicking in,
nervous.
but a good job
He
from
did
Zach
great.
Schmidt.
I think Luke Elzinga, or
Yep.
is that how you say his last name?
Yep.
What a punter, man.
Yep.
Like he flipped fields for us. I mean, it's just special teams I thought was really great, other than that one return where we like did the face mask and that was a whole mess. But
that was
we can
on
get
Zach.
past that. I know that was on Zach.
Yeah.
I know. And like when you put your kicker in that position, it's never great, but
Right.
it's it's like we gotta clean that up a little bit.
My one additional special teams thought is Peyton Bowen has to call fair catch way more than he's doing. It is weird the way that he is allowing himself to catch the ball and get hit very quickly. I
And
know
the
that
one
he
time
did
he
call it that
does.
one time that he got,
gets
yeah,
hit.
the one time he does, he gets hit anyway. But at least 2 times before that, he's catching the ball and then immediately getting blasted by a guy. And you can't put that up to chance. You just can't. You gotta call the fair catch.
Saw the same thing with Gavin Freeman. Seen the same thing in Brent Venables' era of our kick returners not doing
Gavin
that. punt
Freeman,
returns.
don't bring up that name.
Yeah, not bringing up that
Don't
name.
do it.
Penalties. Last thing I have is really the penalties. A lot of unacceptable penalties today. Unnecessary penalties. Hopefully we fix that going into the next week or in the bye week.
Touching on one point of that real quick.
Yeah.
We need to do something about our tight end room when it comes to penalties, because that stuff was absolutely unacceptable. And Joe John needs to get his room together, because we had multiple like drive breaking penalties on the tight end. So whether that was Nate Roberts and the offensive pass interference, I'm pretty sure we had Bauer Sharp go false start on that touchdown play. That got called back. I mean, we can't.
McIntyre had a penalty.
Hey,
as well.
McIntyre had a penalty that backed us up. Like we can't have these things happen. And they were all feeling like they were centered around that one room. So we just need to be better there.
Yeah. All right. Anything else before we move into MVPs of the week or of the game? All right, Ryan, let's start with you.
I'm going to give it to Michael Hawkins because of all the things that I've already said about him. You know, coming in as a true freshman, starting your first game on the road in a hostile SEC environment, down by 11 at with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and coming out and throwing that like dime of 68 yards and then putting your body on the line on the 2-point conversion. I mean, this dude is just, he wants it, and you can tell he wants it, and he's only going to get better. And I think this offense needs to help him long term. But man, what a individual performance by that guy. I think it was great.
Yeah. The team showed an extraordinary amount of grit today. A lot of us thought the game was over and Oklahoma came back to win it. Yeah, many of us. My MVP of the week will be for the Oklahoma Sooners, the Auburn kicker. Bless his heart.
Yeah.
But man, we won the game by 6 points, and he should at least have gotten one of his 2 missed field goals. That was pretty rough on his part.
That was tough. I read a tweet before Mark goes. I read a tweet that was basically like 2 things can be true here, that like OU won this game like at the end because they played well in that like last 10 minutes of the fourth quarter, but also Auburn gave this game away because of some of their mistakes and some of the things that they did at the end. And I think that's right. I think both of those things can be true, and the kicking is a great example of that.
Yeah.
The kicking was insane for them. If
Atrocious.
that was us, can you guys imagine the way that we would be approaching this post game?
Oh
it
my
would
God.
be
It'd be a
nasty.
meltdown.
We'd be so upset. If it was Zach Schmidt, oh my God, we were upset.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go. So the MVP is Michael Hawkins, right? It just is the way that he's able to come in, stay composed, true freshman, make plays, win us the game. But I'm gonna give it to Kip Lewis.
Yeah.
5 tackles, 1 for a loss, and obviously the play of the game I assume the play of the game, maybe you guys disagree with the pick 6 on that one. He just grabs it, runs, and you see why he is the game changer that he is with that sort of speed. We don't often get to see a guy like Kip just get to run straight line. And when he doesn't get caught by anyone, that's when you start to sort of realize, oh, this guy might be different. There's a lot to Kip Lewis. He might be a little bit lighter, but you see what he brings to the table that other guys might not necessarily bring. So MVP Kip Lewis. I think that we are just beginning to see the kind of player that he can be. Luckily, he's got at least 1 more year in Oklahoma, and I think next year he's going to be a huge part of the formula there. So Kip Lewis, MVP.
Yeah, that was a nasty play call by Zac Alley. Thank you for joining the Program Guyz podcast. Remember to like and subscribe to all of our platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Ryan,
Horns
take
down,
us out.
boys. Ooh, keep pushing, baby.
3, 2, 1.
There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being